And that's that whole. He also said a great adage of reality plus 10%.
Episode 12, Made You Look presents Storytime with Matt LeFevour. My guest, Manny Manzanares. Welcome, brother.
Hello.
All right, the kickoff, since it's your first time,
Yeah.
hopefully of many.
Cool.
Pick your swag, man. Green or white?
I'll do white.
Putting it back to almost a dead heat on the green and the white swag.
Nice.
Interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're very welcome. You're gonna have to at the end, like before we do our sign off, and I have gotten much better at it. I'll make sure you tell everybody. Actually, let's start too.
Okay.
What are your handles? Like, where can all of our friends find you?
I just have an Instagram, which is Emmanuel Manzanares, my full name. I'm the director of a small little stunt crew called LVP Stunts, which is in Chicago. You can find us on Instagram and on YouTube, and we've been there for like 20 years almost.
Yeah, shout out to both. Both awesome, awesome person and awesome people. I know several of the people that are in that stunt group as well, and they're awesome humans and very, very, very talented stunt people as well.
You.
Yeah, so I'm getting better at making sure I include the social media stuff, and then I'm also putting all of the stuff up on the screen now as well.
Great.
So I will start with two things. One, Manny is a professional stuntman. He also shoots and edits a lot of amazing videos as well. But tell us a little more about just your background.
Sure. I guess born and raised in Chicago, and I grew up in Rogers Park near Edgewater on the north side of Chicago. And I had a family that was really into movies and just kind of all media, right? Like I had a grandfather that was into silent films and musicals, but also action movies of all kinds. I had an uncle that was really into comedies of all kinds and horror. And so we would just have a lot of movie nights, and I think that's just what sparked my interest in movies. But it wasn't until I was about 13 or so, or like teenager, when I saw my first recognizable Jackie Chan movie, right, which I believe everybody had seen at the time, which is Rumble in the Bronx. And once I saw that, I had realized I'd been watching this guy's movies without really realizing he was a name. You know, most people grew up on like Bruce Lee and stuff, right? And so they all know his movies. But not many people realize that Jackie has been trying to get into the American side since like the early 80s, I think since Cannonball Run, right, in 80. And so after watching Rumble in the Bronx, I was like, I want to do what that guy does, right? Because he acts in everything. He sometimes writes his own scripts. He'll produce, he'll direct, and then he does all the choreography a lot of times with his team or with other teams for all of his movies. And I just thought that was the coolest kind of job. And because for whatever reason, when I was younger, I was more interested in the Asian cinema side of things. Nothing against American stuff. It's like, you know, we watch all the heroes like Schwarzenegger and Stallone or Van Damme, you know, and obviously there's like Seagal and Wesley Snipes, like all these people that you see them and you know they're martial artists, but I guess not always. Maybe like Bruce Willis is a better example, or Gibson, where you're feeling like, are they really doing everything that they're doing? Whereas when you watch Jackie, you know, for the most part, that he's doing everything that he's doing. So that kind of inspired me to get into stunts. And then flash forward about like 2005, 2006, I picked up one of these guys, you know, these little camcorders. At the time, we were shooting on, what was it, High 8, right, and Super 8 tape. And I just, you know, was like, well, Jackie kind of did the same thing, right? Like he learned how to use cameras on set and figured out all those things. And I was inspired by a group of guys in San Francisco called the Stunt People. And they were basically making these Jackass-style videos. And so after watching them for a while, they got better. Same thing. They picked up a camera, they watched all their favorite movies, and they figured out how to do fights. And that's all it was at first. We figured out how to do fights for a while, and then I took it more seriously the year after. And then from there, I haven't stopped. And that's kind of what's led me to stunts and, you know, coming up and whatnot. But that was like early beginnings. It wasn't really, I guess, pure stunts. It wasn't like I wanted to go to a stunt school or anything, or even film school, mostly because I didn't have the money. But it was mostly like inspired by a lot of the indie filmmakers of that time, and even guys like Tarantino and Spike Jones and all those guys, that same, right? Like they would pick up cameras with their friends and make, bullshit little shorts. But this was pre YouTube. So as that was kind of going that way of like everything was more accessible, it was easier to, I didn't have to buy a film camera, for example. I just had somebody that had a camcorder and I would buy tapes and I would learn with the family camera, how to make stuff. So, yeah.
100%. I think that speaks a lot to uh, just the love of storytelling. When you're talking about some of the things that distinguishes Jackie Chan, he's an ultimate storyteller.
Yep.
When he's creating storylines, he's having storylines that are completely generated based on who he is and some of the characters
Correct.
that he excels at. Performing the action beats of a lot of the work that he does, and also understanding like you said, the shooting it and telling the story.
Yeah.
You have some of the greats like Stephen King and stuff, where it's they tell their stories really well with pen and paper or
Right.
through literature, and that has nothing to do with not being able to cross over and be an awesome storytelling, because we know a lot of his movies or stories have been turned into movies.
Right.
It's just like you said, a lot of that comes down to what our influences are as well. You growing up with your family, enjoying cinema and enjoying long format storytelling via the big screen.
Yeah.
Or the small screen, but video format.
Yeah. And it was a big screen thing too, because at those times, going to movies was infinitely cheaper. So that was also a thing of we would do a lot of, if we didn't rent movies, and we weren't renting from like Blockbuster, we were renting from a lot of these mom and pop shops. So a lot of times they get movies that Blockbuster doesn't allow, as we know, and that could be foreign films, for example, where they don't always have subtitles. The areas that I grew up in, I'm Mexican, so the neighborhood was predominantly Latino, and we would have a lot of films from Mexico, for example, come in, and so that's what my grandparents would want to look at, as well as sometimes they would have movies from Mexico that were dubbed, right? Like any of the English ones. It could be Disney, it could be any of the Spielberg movies or Scorsese movies, so it's easier for them to understand.
Totally.
But a lot of times they would just watch films like, there was a kind of a rule in the house where, because I was the kid, I shared a house with my grandparents, my uncle, aunt, my mom, and myself, and they would let me watch my kid movie first, right? Whatever it may be. And then they would watch their adult movie. And a lot of times an adult movie would be a drama, sometimes a romance, but mostly a drama or like I guess a gory action, kind of thing. So for every Disney movie, there'd be a Scorsese movie on or a Ridley Scott movie on, or, like a, like a Polanski movie on, like any kind of movie that interests them at the time. And so the rule was, if I wanted to watch, if it's too much for me, just exit. Don't make a scene, like if I get freaked out by something. And then B, don't ask questions. And that was a big one because it serviced me for later when I started going to theaters on my own, of like, this is what it means to just sit and watch something and experience it, whether you love it, whether you hate it, whether you think it's mid, whatever it may be. You're looking at it for what it is, as opposed to, I'm sure nothing against people that do this, but like, I'm sure you've met with a person that you watch something and they go, well, what's that? Or why is that happening? Or, they want to ask questions, understandably. Kids are great for this, right? You and I both having kids, I'm sure you've had those experiences where it's like, well, why is that happening now? And what's going on, right? They're curious, but there was a benefit to just watching. And I think, to your point, that's what led me to like read a lot, to pay attention to books, to comic books, to pay attention to how the writing is in movies and stuff like that, because all that dialogue stuff, besides the action, was also really unique to me, right? Like the pacing, I love Scorsese films, so the pacing of his dialogue scenes, a lot of times his dialogue has Steadicam oneers, and they're very subtle, but just you're learning about these people's environments and worlds, and then as they are as well, right, in these environments, and who do they have problems with or not. And so those kinds of movies informed me as I got older to like not just do, I guess for lack of a better term, not just do actiony stuff, but know how to just let things be and like sit. Because as you know, a lot of times those dialogue, even if they're going through worlds, they're just walking and talking. There's not really anything going on.
Or driving.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the action around them that makes it feel interesting.
Sure.
Right. They're driving to a place. They're walking to a place. They enter a restaurant or a bar, and they talk to people. Like Godfather is a great example. Part 2, right, when he does the whole market scene, he's just going through, and you're getting introduced to how, as a power figure, he's powerful while having conversation with someone else, right? Like there's a beauty of learning how to do that, So it's been really fun, just kind of going back to things that you love, because I think especially as stunt people, we want to. A lot of us now, right? We want to make things that break out and get us hired, understandably. Yep. But I think for those that are trying to be creatives, I think a lot of people forget, like, you got to do what speaks to you, and you got to do what works for you, and that's what makes you stand out, instead of kind of trying to do what everyone else does. Because I feel like you'll learn that at work, if that makes sense.
Totally.
So once you're off of work, like, go do the thing that, speaks to you, right? Go tell a story, have fun with it.
Yeah.
So,
I do think that is a big part of what this exercise is about, is that I'm getting to get very unique inputs into a creative process.
Yeah.
And it creates some very different results. I've never guessed like what. There's a couple of times that I steered it, and I revisited a couple of characters from my original feature, An Interesting Story About an Uninteresting Guy, and they worked really well. But anytime it's been a new character creation, no chance. I do think like sometimes I'm like, oh, I have an idea or whatever else, but no, it never does. I did want to revisit one of your points too about watching the movies with our kids and stuff.
Yeah.
It's the worst, man. They're constantly telling me to shut up and stop repeating lines or saying them before they happen. And like, I don't want to know what the camera trick is or why they did that in 3 cuts. I'm like, what? No, this is like, you should hear these things. It's important. It's storytelling.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny because my kid right now, they're at a point in their lives where they're understanding that the same stories can happen on a visual medium. Like, it's one of those things where they read a lot of books, but they are now watching things and they're asking me the questions, and not necessarily how it gets created, but more so of like, did you see that? Or like, well, what's happening now? Like they get excited and anticipated. Like we watched, for example, Project Hail Mary, and I've never showed my kid anything specifically sci-fi related. And, I'm familiar that there was a novel, but I don't really know what the novel was about or what the story's about. So I'm kind of coming into it fresh. And as we're watching the movie, like seeing her excitement of watching what's happening, seeing what the characters are going through, like, there's certain twists, and just seeing their genuine, reaction to everything. And then being like, well, what's going to happen? Or, and it's cool because I feel like that's something like any other medium you show your kid that should be fostered, right? And like letting them figure it out, because as you know, right, like of course I want to be like, well, they probably did this way, or like you're thinking as well as a creative, like how did they do that, right? How do they figure it out? And us working in production, sometimes it's hard to watch things now, because I think just especially when you get excited, you're already like, how did they figure that out, or what did they wait here, And I think to sometimes take myself out of the equation, it allows me to see how they experience it. And it's like, right, like that's just storytelling. Like across all ages, you can enjoy something. Like my wife really enjoyed that movie. Same thing. She hates sci-fi, does not really into action movies at all. But she enjoyed it because, to your point, there's characters involved that have a story worth telling.
The best storytelling is compelling your audience to either relate to a character or to want to relate to the story arc, right? Like good versus bad, or why you're justifying this, or correct. I would never want this to happen to me, or I would really want that to happen to me. But engaging your audience members in taking them on the ride, and that is a good sign of, or a sign of good storytelling.
Yeah,
I believe.
Absolutely.
like you said,
Yeah.
sci-fi is not my thing, and then it's like, except when it's really good sci-fi.
Right, exactly. Which, like, I guess to your point, the more you find a way to humanize those characters to make them relatable, even if they're personally not relatable to you, but the world and the environment that they're in, the more you can do that, the more that I guess you don't always need the big spectacle, or when you do, it's just as interesting as a really simple, direct response to something. Like how effective is it? Um, any kind of twist, right? Sometimes the twist is just what it is.
Yeah.
And like even if you see it coming, but that's the inevitability. Like people still get excited by it. They react to it. They go no, or they're gutted by whatever decision has to be made.
The decision.
Right.
100%.
Because to your point, it's how it's presented and I guess related.
Right.
So yeah, it's always exciting.
That is obviously why we're such big nerds about
Right.
storytelling, because those are things that we constantly experience and expose ourselves to, and then have the unique opportunity to tell stories in formats like that at very high levels. And it's that also is why whenever we see something awesome, we're doing like, how do I put that in my bag of tricks?
Right.
Because that was freaking amazing.
Yeah, it's great. Like doing this whole indie background that I did, because again, like I didn't go to film school. I went eventually to UIC for theater, and I did theater because I remember reading way back when both Spielberg and Scorsese, I want to say Ridley Scott as well, or maybe Coppola, they used to take acting classes, and they used to take drama or theater classes, not to necessarily be actors, though a lot of them sometimes show up or had show up, right, in their films. It's really to understand what the actor has to go through. So as they direct, it's not this, disposition of like, do it faster, do it harder, go more, these very general terms. It's more of like, that thing you keep doing, what happens if you don't? Or what happens if you just wait a few beats? Like really think about that decision. Whatever, right? Like they're inciting something that allows the actor to either push that character development more or find it, right? Which is a big part of it. And I think that's a really beautiful thing because, right, with action, sometimes that's what it is. Like the classic Raiders of the Lost Ark moment. It happened because of what Ford had to go through, but at the time didn't tell anybody really about it, or some people knew that he was had a little deli belly going on, so he played it as what it is, right? The guy comes out with the sword, he does the whole flourish and everything, they had this whole fight planned out, and he just goes and it's just the lackadaisical way that he embodies that character,
for sure.
and that moment is now iconic. Like anytime anybody does that, or usually that it's from Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah,
right?
well it's such a classic. I have you outmatched in every way, angle, shape, form. Boom, you're done.
Yeah,
So,
which is great.
yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I love
nice
that.
Little stomp right back on it. So I had a brief conversation with you before we started this.
Yes.
But you actually, so we have right now, Manny is episode 12. And so he is actually, some of our stuff has been released and stuff, and you've gotten to see a little bit of
the early ones, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And I gave you a little update on some of what the trajectory is. But you said a few things that, could you, for the audience, because I asked Gavin Brown when I had him on the last time, what he thought the show was.
Yeah.
And I thought you did have some really good hot takes on what it is. So like in a sentence or two, or whatever, as many as you want actually. what do you think the show is and like what it could be?
I think what this format is that I generally don't see, like what's similar is, a lot of times it's two guys talking or a round table of people talking about like what we're talking about. Storytelling theory and writing and how that applies to character work, to development, to environment work, right? When you're making a script and putting a picture out, like what generates all of those ideas for production to have. And that's super cool. And then I noticed that you have an exercise where you take some of that and you kind of do, I don't like to say like a speed version of it, but it's essentially, it's like, right, you're setting constraints and limits that are clear. So that way you're getting to the core, ideally, in like just a kind of fast pitch way of like, what are these fun ideas we can take from, right? We're talking about an idea, like now let's build it. And I think what's great on the back end that I've heard you describe is that eventually you want to put that to practice, right? You want to take whatever base idea you have, either refine the script more, and then go and shoot a scene, you know? And I think that's such a great thing because, especially when I first started just making fights, it's not like there was a fight scene library or even an acting library. A lot of times, even when books were still huge and the internet was still fresh, you might have tutorials on acting, you might have tutorials on filmmaking, but you don't have tutorials on both. So you can imagine when you make an action scene, you have nothing. You have no book that tells you how to stack hits, how, you know, edits work, or how you're developing choreography to break it up for specific reasons.
Right.
For me specifically, I learned that from watching Hong Kong cinema, because a lot of times they break it up into like 5 to 6, maybe 7 to 10 beat chunks, and then they have a whole section that might be 30 to 60 beats, right? But the point of that is that it's very clear and digestible. And I feel like with this format, what's great is you're taking into practice of a lot of things, you know, acting and writing, and then eventually production work, and kind of doing it in these very small, like Hong Kong cinema for fights, you're doing it for writing and development, these small chunks that are digestible. And I think that's a great learning tool for everyone. And plus, it's just cool to, right, meet up and talk shop and just see what you come up with.
100%. I mean, that the ultimate goal is to, we're past proof of concept on obviously building the library. Well put. This is a library of interviews where you can get some unique backgrounds, stories from, yes, I'm biased, from some absolutely fucking amazing people in my life. And then we get to like do a writing exercise where I get to use you as a filter. Filter a soundboard, a creation center, all of it, because there's so many little nuances that I like to incorporate into it. The tough thing for me, which I am accepting, as you know, is that there's the appetite is largely changing to shorter form storytelling.
Correct.
And so versus me just like having a mental breakdown and wondering why I have all these long form scripts that will never go nowhere. I've just re-geared it a little bit, and I am putting my energy back into, don't get me wrong, I absolutely fucking love writing short form. It's fun because you can sit down and in the course of an hour and a half or 2 hours, you can have a whole character that you might love, you might hate,
right?
Whatever it is, you get to have that unique experience and some kind of a result from it.
Totally.
And then the format is evolving to the point where I plan on writing, you know, just like it's like a 3-act setup, beginning, middle, end, very simplistic, and writing the strong characters, you know, a 3-part short, and then figuring it out with our people, and then hopefully getting some money behind it, and either shooting it as the vertical stuff or figuring out a way to shoot the 3 episodes and put them on YouTube or whatever else. But then get it monetized so that we can pay all of our talent around here.
No, totally. And you know, again, I think that's a great model because the advent post-COVID of where social media has taken off, like I come from a generation of filmmakers and honestly some performers that we got found through YouTube. You know, like I got a call from Chad Stahelski in 2012 because I put out a short that a friend of mine, Vlad Rimberg, had created and directed, and we did it because we wanted to work with this gentleman. You know, Vlad is from Los Angeles, and he was one of the pioneers of guys that I watched, you know, him start from like these same thing. He would just make these kind of whatever fights in a park, and then started eventually going to different locations and going to city locations, and I'm sure like non-permits as we do, right, back in the indie days, but really trying to develop his action and storytelling through visuals and through tone and through music and camera work and using whatever tools he had. So to your point about creating limits, like I think what's great is we all got, found through a medium that we didn't really know how big it was. And I guess going back to even that and long form storytelling, if you look at these two breakout films, Obsession and Backrooms, they're both made technically by YouTubers, but YouTubers that have developed a long-standing short-form medium, but have always wanted to do a long-form version of either that medium of environment they wanted to do or create something. Right. And I think what's great about that is the newer generation of filmmakers are starting to understand the power of both. Right. That, like, to your point, if you want to do the long form thing, but you don't have the resources and you want to create a community that hopefully will help build that idea, or you can develop that idea, you start from something small, right. And now there's stuff like Patreon and all these things where basically it seems like people are tipping you more or less to be like, yeah, I really like this one idea. So you have a little fundraiser page for it, right? And you develop that whatever 1,000 to 5,000, maybe a little more, to just do that one day, maybe 3-page or less scene. Yep. But that helps you, I think, not just create a community of filmmakers, but to your point, create a community of artists, and we do. Like, thankfully in Chicago, I've seen it in most cities, but I feel like Chicago and New York, maybe a little bit of Atlanta now that things have changed, and especially in LA, there's so many creatives that are just working and want to make things on all facets of production, right? Not just stunts and stuff. And it's still great to see. And, like, I don't know, I find a lot of solace looking at these young filmmakers that still want to do stuff, that still want to watch movies and tell stories. And I'm like, that's awesome, because I thought that would die with my generation, mostly because, like, you've seen a lot of the big spectacle things over the past 10, 15 years. And it's nice to see these little movies that could, like the two that I referred to, come out of nowhere, and people are like, why are they so good? But if you watch them or you immerse yourself, you're like, there's a world, there's a story being told, there's characters that are generating a relatable response to the kids these days, and that's awesome. How is that any different than when, like, Texas Chainsaw first came out, or like Jaws came out or Star Wars came out, and who pushed that? All the young kids, right, that were like, oh my God, my mind's blown, can I do that?
Right.
Selfishly,
I still hope that I get the opportunity to make some of my long form stuff, but this is going to gear it up where hopefully it helps elevate the platform and the potential. And then we can do both. I can do this, and we can put different formats to it, and crank out some cool, fun material. Totally. And then also hopefully have that opportunity to still, get in before the long form contracts anymore.
Right. No, it's true. I know it's always a wave, but again, I think it's great because it's not even that we don't necessarily even have that here. It's just like, to your point, like, at a certain point, if you want the resources or you want the community, if you build it, they will come, right?
100%.
So why not?
Yeah. So
yeah.
We've got awesome people and great resources.
Yes.
So we're jumping on it. We're hoping that this shit takes off.
Hell yeah.
Without further ado, you want to do a little exercise?
Sure.
Fuck yeah. All right. So, for the few of you that have watched every episode, bless your heart, thank you. I do think they are getting much, much better. So, we will take that credit. And my guests have been phenomenal.
Hell yeah.
Manny does have a new sheet for anybody keeping tabs on it. Also, I'm a share. Anybody wants any of these templates, I'll give you all the 10 that I've ever made, because I change them every time anyway. So it's cool, and I would be flattered if you thought it was worth stealing. So
I think it's awesome.
Like, grab it.
Like, listen, that's the best way to learn is, if someone has an existing platform and they're open about their process, why not?
Yeah.
That's the best kind of school you can have.
Totally. And I actually encourage any fellow creatives, writers and stuff. I am getting better on the social media stuff, but reach out and contact me. I'll see if we can't work it out. I did do it with Blake Armstrong. He was the first one to do the writing exercise with me, and it was fucking exquisite, because halfway through we decided that our characters were, or like right before we started, we decided that our characters were in the same world. It was nice. It was awesome, dude. It was really cool. It was, and again, it was another unique one where I'm like, I have to figure out which ones I'm going to continue writing about.
Yeah.
But more so, keep watching the videos, keep liking and sharing them, so that we can hopefully, especially if you like them, because then we can give you more, and that will be
Hell
it.
Yeah.
So this is a fun one so Anthony DeJesus, who worked on Force with us.
Oh, nice.
He was one of the bad guys that got killed.
Yeah.
Our conversation was really fun because I was talking to him like he's a full-time actor, and I was like, "Do you like playing protagonist or antagonist?" And I had a whole story about my daughter behind it. But he's like, who doesn't want to be Spider-Man? I'm like, I know, but isn't antagonist the true challenge, like the true character? And so when we got to the writing exercise, I was like, holy crap, like, can I ask a leading question? Would you rather write an antagonist or a protagonist? And he's like, after that conversation, antagonist. Right. And it turned out really, really good.
Yeah.
So that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with what we're going to do, but do you want to pick protagonist, antagonist?
Can I pick a protagonist who acts like an antagonist?
You can pick whatever you want. I am circling both.
I know there's been a lot of films like in the past 10 years with that, right? Like the anti-hero kind 100%. Of idea. But I think what speaks to that kind of character, which I love, is it's one thing. If they're essentially God, right? Then at a certain point, you're like, what is this, right? Is this a video game or is this real life?
Right.
And it's not to say
like The Boys.
Right. And it's not to say like you can't have consequences, but to your point, an antagonist has to deal with consequences. A lot of times they're like, can we swear here? Fuck it,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, they're like, fuck it, right?
Yeah.
To whatever the consequences are. But what's interesting with this idea of that type is if you have a person that doesn't want to be a hero, that doesn't necessarily want to be in the spotlight, but then has to make decisions based on what they think is the best version of that decision, and maybe it's not, right? And then when you kind of see how they have to journey through that, I think that's really relatable because it deals with that whole aspect of consequences.
For sure.
They might be trying to do the right thing, but it's not actually the right thing, right? And that's really human. So I think that's what's lacking a lot of days in these anti-hero characters is that a lot of times they turn on, the cheats or God mode and they do whatever they want without fail. Mm-hmm. Not that we didn't have that growing up, but, the more when you have somebody that's relatable and human in that way, they have to like almost second guess their decision a little bit, at some point. I think that's fun. Why not?
Hell yeah. Do you want to pick a genre, or you want to just see where we go?
If we do anything, I kind of see where it goes, but I wouldn't mind if there's a bit of comedy to it.
Oh, fuck yeah, absolutely. You're also the first person that has ever answered.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I don't push on it. Because I don't know where we're going with this at all.
Yeah.
Like that's why I hold it up. It's a blank sheet. Manny and I did not. There is no coaching.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just taking this as is.
So no, I'm super stoked that that's literally the first time because I've left that box in there and I don't use it, and I literally almost deleted it this time because I'm like, we always the character dictates a lot of that. But
right.
I will also say, I will take liberties to drive the story.
Sure.
To make
absolutely.
The character stronger.
Totally.
So if it works, it works. And if it doesn't,
right.
I'll try my best.
Yeah.
Awesome. What is the... okay. Mm-hmm. Do you want me to ask one more question?
Sure.
Or we can do a coin flip or whatever
you can do
else.
the question.
Do you want this character to be someone that I envision you playing in some form?
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Copy that. What is what's the name of our character?
Does it have to be a specific type? I know you gave, was it man or woman, or does it matter, right?
No. Oh, no. Yeah, it's please, whatever comes to mind, whatever's feeling like as you start to envision the character. You already clearly had anti-hero comedy.
Yeah.
You had some good bones, some good structure.
I don't know. It's tough. Okay. We can say it's young woman,
Okay.
and then do I have to give a name, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Name's more important.
Let's just say Natalie.
I like it. What's Natalie's last name?
Mm. We'll make it Latin, but easy. I don't know, let's say Martinez. Easy enough.
I love Natalie Martinez. She's my favorite as the anti-hero. I don't know if you knew that. How old is she? You can give a range. It doesn't have to be specific, or it can
let's say early to mid 20s, or yeah, in 20s range, right? Even it can be late 20s, but
Perfect. Relationship status.
single, but has been in, let's say, a couple of semi long term. So she's had some mileage on her. If that makes sense.
No, she's in her 20s. I get it. That is good context. That's like
Yeah.
seeking long term, currently single.
Right.
All right. What is Natalie Martinez's job?
Let's say she's a driver.
Do you want to be more specific, or just leave it as driver? I like ambiguous too.
She's exceptionally good at driving, but she likes to be in the background. So, for example, if she were to be in a garage or in a even racing team or whatever it may be, she's probably the guts of it, right? Like the mechanic or anyone, the buyer as well.
Ooh, I like that.
Someone that knows the ins and outs.
Driver / car girl.
Right.
Nice.
But chooses by her choice to kind of pull it back, if that makes sense.
I got some good vibes. What's her dream job?
If not to have her own shop, probably to run like a team, like a racing team or something. Something legit.
Hell yeah. I like all of that. Does she have a pet?
No, but she likes animals.
I like that. What does Natalie think of herself?
She's confident and she knows herself well, but I think she's learned to close herself off over time on purpose. And I think she's trying to figure out what that reason is.
Cool. What do other people think of Natalie?
I think a lot of folks probably at first glance assume she's kind of quiet or aloof, maybe a little weird, right? Just kind of to herself. But I think people that do know her know that she's a bigger softie than one thinks. Really generous and kind. But you gotta get over that wall to find out.
Copy that. High walls. What's her favorite quote or saying?
Not once, not twice, but thrice.
Fantastic. That is good. What does Natalie do on her Friday night?
Probably more at home than you think. So whatever that constitutes to. Like, even though her love is driving and all things about it, I think once she's kind of off the clock, unless it's something that really strikes her, she's generally pretty chill.
Copy chill.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. So, I'm going to I cut another one off. I'm just doing 10 on the random words that I will incorporate into the story, just because it's still an origin story, and it really makes I do have an idea already. Like I could describe exactly what Natalie looks to you already in my brain.
Nice.
That's the fun of it. And all of these things are gorgeous. This is going to be good. But I still am going to do this part of the exercise because it causes some extra steering, and it's fun.
Great.
So, can I please have an adjective, a descriptive word?
Persistent.
Nice. And then, can you just give me 4 other words? It's word association, so persistent, but any 4 words.
Is it specifically about Natalie, or I guess her world?
Sure, why not? Go ahead.
If it's about the world, challenging, but also familial, right? There's a, I guess, for lack of a better term, community aspect of it.
I put family feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll get
good.
that in there.
Loud,
Loud.
right? And then dangerous.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
All right. May I please have a noun, person, place, or thing?
Let's say it's set in San Francisco.
Copy. We're not going to San Francisco, but I love it.
Whatever that
But
might
we
be,
are.
Bay, right?
We'll take our audience to San Francisco.
There you go.
All right. 4 words. Anything, word association. It can be about San Francisco, or it can be about Natalie. It can be about whatever.
Charming, stubborn, focused, and silly.
That's so funny. All right. That you gave me great words, by the way, because I'm gonna rattle half those off in one sentence. So
Awesome.
It's kind of how I do it sometimes. Awesome. A quick look. I will punch in on that. So anybody that wants to look at some of the details can.
Great.
I usually put it up right before we go, or whenever I have that. I'm going to give you this.
Nice.
Yeah, my son made that for me. So
That's cool. Is it 3D printed?
yeah, he did.
Nice.
But I was like, ML, and he put my full name, so
That's cool.
it worked. It definitely did. All right, so we are going to put up the stopwatch. What you are going to do is you are going to give me just a 3, 2, 1 here in 1 second.
Okay.
Do me a favor though, and like kind of put it towards one of those beautiful, beautiful cameras. Yeah, put it right around there.
Right here?
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you'll go 3, 2, 1, and you're going to hit start. And I'm going to write in 7.5 minutes. I'm going to come up with a scene on how our audience is going to get to know Natalie Martinez. At 7.5 minutes, or like, you know, if you don't mind, give me a call like 7 minutes, and then I'll be like,
Sure.
30 seconds. Because
Yeah.
when the time ends, I still finish my thought. Like, it's
Yeah,
not like
yeah,
pens down. Oh, shit. So I'll finish my thought, and then I'm going to pause, and I'll tell you how much I've incorporated into the story, and then I'm going to ask you what happened. But what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you 2 things that could have happened, because it gives I started doing this like 1 or 2 episodes ago, and then it gives me more opportunity to make it very successful in the storyline. And we can flip a coin, or we can talk about it, and because I don't let you know what's going on in the story.
Yeah.
That is the best part about the reaction.
Great.
Is when you start reading it is like, what?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
What is
totally.
this?
Yeah. So if you need anything, feel free, because I caught the whole thing. But give me a count in, brother, and let's start writing about Natalie Martinez.
All right. Are you set?
I'm set.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, start. It's the passion of the race. It starts from, doing things with your parents, doing things with your family, that eventually leads you to figure out what that is, and then having to also understand, like, that even has a shelf life, right? Like, your passion and version of it only has so much time to live because somebody else's passion is current.
Boom. All right.
Good.
Pretty much everything that we talked about is in here so far, except for a small part. I am not going to tell you what that is. I will see if you catch it at a later point. But more importantly, Manny, what just happened in Natalie Martinez's story?
To add or to guess?
So it's a story break. So it can literally be like lost love comes in, a shootout happens, a robbery happens.
Sure.
The boss fires somebody. We found out somebody's pregnant. Somebody won the lottery. Their favorite sports team won. Gravity just got turned off. The spaceship landed.
Right.
Somebody discovered, nuclear fission. Whatever.
Yeah. So one of the cars has crashed, not terribly, but enough to obviously put it out of commission. And it's up to Natalie to prove whatever she's trying to do can be done. But this now means she has to trust her team, who she already has some difficulties doing so, right? She's not a tyrant, but she's, again, stubborn. If that makes sense.
Okay, and then give me a second potential story break.
I guess the twist or story break is that whoever their boss is basically trying to get an idea out of her that he's more or less going to sell without letting her know.
Copy that.
Right? Like steal something that she's not privy to. She thinks she's solving a problem. He's basically selling off what that idea or technique is. And I guess we can add that maybe someone on the team, who don't know who, right, is somewhat aware of that. And that's where a lot of the stubbornness comes from. Will she listen?
Ooh. Okay. And what we're going to do is you're going to give me a count-in and 3, 2, 1, and then we will... oh, you never stopped it. That's okay.
My bad.
It's all good. Check this. Let's see if we can just go like that. Yep, and we will. There we go. We'll just do 7.5 minutes again.
Perfect.
And then all of our people will get that was still 15.
There you go.
All right. So go ahead and count me back in, and I'm going to keep writing about what happened with our girl, Natalie Martinez.
Okay, here we go. And 3, 2, 1, start.
Boom. The end. We have a story about Natalie Martinez.
Hell yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Hell yeah. I'm going to make some copies, and we're going to read the story.
Oh, fun.
We're back. First of all, can I say, when I was writing about Natalie Martinez, I was like Angelina Jolie gone in 60 seconds.
Oh, cool.
I don't know why.
Nice.
But that was definitely going through my head.
Mm-hmm.
We have a short story about Natalie Martinez.
Oh, boy.
Traditionally, and how we're going to do it, you're going to read stage directions and main character.
Okay. Let me know when to start.
Action.
All right. So, interior car shop, San Francisco day. A charming girl, Natalie Martinez, is arguing with an employee in the shop.
Mechanic. You are persistently stubborn, silly girl.
Natalie, that's because I'm right.
Mechanic. You're just loud.
Natalie, and you're dangerous. Checking the lugs real quick is not that challenging. It's lazy.
Mechanic. You know you're doing all this for yourself. Showing off to Dean so he'll give you the shop one day. Or sponsor a team for you.
I love the family feel of this place, but yes, I'm focused on my goals.
Mechanic. That's why you can't keep a man either. Too self-centered.
That just shows us a glimpse into you. No drive, no chance of up or anything, and sure as hell no girlfriend. Just then there's a loud crash. It's clearly 2 cars based on the distinct sound. Shit. They race outside. Natalie goes into boss mode. Check passengers first and look for any gas or fluids leaking. Natalie gets to the first car. A woman is unconscious. Mechanic arrives. Look, I'm sorry about what I said. You really are a good person. I'm frustrated with a lot of this shit. Things that I hoped would be further along.
Mechanic. Natalie, you're incredibly talented. I'm definitely reflecting on my own failure. Help me grab her.
They gently remove the woman and lay her down in the background. In the background, their boss, Dean, is approaching.
Mechanic. Hey, quick heads up. Dean is taking your idea of the women's pro racing circuit. All your sexy team names and locations for early circuits.
What? Dean has arrived. You told me not once, not twice, but thrice my idea was no good. Then you steal it?
Dean. Yeah, kind of.
Natalie lands a 1, 2, 3 combo. Boom. The end. Nice.
So, quickly for our audience, every single thing that was on there was checked in. The only comedy was at the end when it was 1, 2, 3 and the once, twice, thrice. Mm-hmm. But it was tough because going comedy when we also have an anti-hero.
Right.
And it's like she's trying to struggle with her own conflicts, like you had said. Mm-hmm. Are there consequences? So the consequence would have been losing the shop if she continued to go at it with the mechanic.
Right.
And your 2 twists actually both entered too. Because a car has crashed, she needs her team, mm-hmm. which was her instead of fighting with the mechanic continuously being like, yo, I was an idiot. And him being like, oh yeah, like me too. Like pretty much every fight. There is always plenty of idiot to be passed around.
Totally.
And they both took ownership of their share. Mm-hmm. And then the boss takes one of her ideas and tries to steal it, but the team knows. What a fun way to tie in a stronger bond with the mechanic than to have him be like, oh, you just like I talent respects talent, and and yeah. By the way, this guy's a dick. Right. It's like gets that little strength in. So we also put own her own shop or own a race team as a future goal. Mm-hmm. Confident, knows herself, closed off intentionally though, looking for the reason. Mm-hmm. Talked about her relationship stuff. We got a little bit of that.
That's fun.
Didn't talk about her Friday night, but maybe that's next time.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh fuck, Manny! Oh my god, every single time now. You know what Friday night is when she's not on her couch? It's race night. She fucking goes and drags.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say.
Illegal setups.
I was like, what does that mean? Does it mean like she goes on the track on her own? Does it mean she enters drags, right?
Oh, yeah, no, like street stuff.
Yeah, that's fun. Because I feel like, coming more from a martial arts background, that's like going to a smoker, which is basically like somebody opens up their
place where people are literally smoking cigarettes.
Yes, but what that really means in fight terms is like that could be somebody's gym, that could be somebody's martial arts dojo. It's not much different to drag. It's just essentially amateur fighting. You go, you don't know who your opponents are, and people sign up, and there's no weight classes, nothing. You're literally, it's like old school UFC. You just go and you fight for 3 rounds. Mm-hmm. It could be 3 minutes. It could be 1 minute. Right. You don't know. They could be on stuff. You don't know. But to that point, like with drag, right, it's dangerous.
Totally.
So, and illegal as well.
And for us, like to make it friendly to the possibility of us actually shooting it, something where she's going to an actual track day is going to logistically be extremely expensive or difficult.
Totally.
Whereas like doing some really fun, quick insert shots of like a tire spin and then the inside and some really good sound effects, and we can be like, oh, they're drag racing, and literally all we do is like a hot pull out, and then like two people going by the flag at the end with a little offset.
Old school like, Fast and Furious.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So in that regard, cool. I already know Natalie's part 2.
Nice.
That's great. Which means you got to come back.
Awesome.
And then we will write, which is kind of fun because I'm going to again do a different sheet. The second one that I did for Gavin Brown was fun. We didn't do a single coin flip today, which I'm totally okay with. It's cool. Yeah, it's supposed to be what's going to drive the story. And somehow literally every point I would say except for I forgot to mention that she doesn't have a pet, but she likes animals.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. Should we redo the exercise real quick?
Well, no, I was going to say, do you want to do a coin flip for what happens in the second part?
Oh, fuck. Right now? Or
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so...
Like, I guess, I mean,
oh,
you're the writer.
Time out, hold on. Please give me an autograph on that.
Oh, absolutely.
Anywhere, like, yeah, but just make it big so I can see it. Add to the collection.
Bam.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so go ahead. You were saying.
I was just going to say, like, whatever you think is and it obviously doesn't have to necessarily be, concurrent, but whatever you think leads into part 2, based off what you've written, and then I guess based off of what I've heard. And we can flip between one of those two ideas. Where do we want to take it?
Oh, I absolutely love that. In my brain, visually, like to keep the story going and also like really have a hook for Natalie, like why we want to continue to follow her story is not just that like she's going to be a boss of the store one day or like own a racing team, but I think we actually see what the passion is. So I would say part 2 of the story is the passion. Where it is us showing what she does and why she does it.
Yeah.
And that would, to me, would be at a race, an illegal race, drag race.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'll put that on the back. I'm going to put option 1. It doesn't matter. Actually, it's just an option, though.
For sure.
Part 2, option 1, scene at illegal drag.
Yep.
Race. Cool. Option 2.
I guess based off of that, option 2 would be, well, number 1, she's got to deal with consequences, right? She just punched her boss. So what does that mean? Is she fired? Is she suspended? In my head, I think because of how valuable she is, she's potentially suspended. But now that means she has to deal with this problem that her idea is going to be, taken away no matter what. So how do you make something concrete, right? You got to go test it. So if she goes to do a race, it's not like a pride thing in the sense of like, oh, I'm good at this, or like a self-esteem thing. It's more of like, can they replicate what I give them my way, right? Because like any great idea, it's one thing to copy it literally, but to your point, do you know the passion behind it, right?
Can you execute? Yeah. What level can you execute?
Totally. So I think, I would like to see that in the second one, is that she's got to deal with the literal consequence of whether she's suspended or fired, maybe, who knows, right? And that's the literal threat, right? Like, now she's got to figure out a job, but also, can she spin that into something else?
Oh, I love it. Because I'm very visual. So like, I already saw part 3 on both of these.
I love that.
Dude,
that's awesome. Yeah. No, I think that's great, because it's like, that's what's fun about this exercise, is that you have a different vision of the character naturally as the
100,
writer,
100.
Even if I'm spitballing the ideas. But what's great is I'm still also hearing out what you're given and going, okay, how can I also spin that, or just run with it too? Yeah. Like, so that's super fun.
So do we want to save the coin flip for the next time that we do the exercise, or do we want to do it now and discuss it?
Let's just do it now.
Okay, so coin flip?
Yeah.
All right, right on. You pick what option 1, option 2 is. Just assign the car and the words.
Okay, so I guess car will be heads?
Or 1 or 2. Just give me 1 or 2.
1 or 2? So 1?
Yep, perfect.
Right. 1 and 2.
Car 1, that's all I remember.
Cool. All right, ready?
Yeah. I hope you didn't break your laptop.
That's fine.
Okay, landed option 1, scene at illegal drag race. The fun thing is that in my mind, either way, at some point we were going to show Natalie driving a car.
Yeah.
Because yours, we can still debate this the next time.
Yeah.
Yours, I had the punch the boss, like, that's like the all is lost moment. Like, you're fired and everything else and stuff.
Totally.
But then,
and who doesn't want to punch their boss? But
yeah.
Sometimes.
Seriously.
Yeah.
But then I was taking it back to where she would have been fired, and then your risk tolerance potentially goes through the roof.
Right.
And then it's like, yeah, I had some ideas. I'm not going to give them all away though.
No, and it's great because again, the reason why I think it's classic team dynamics. Like the reason why I'm like, she's stubborn, but she has to learn when to like drop her walls a little bit is to trust your team. And like to your point about what you did with the mechanic, I think it's a great dynamic because like any great team or any great friend, they're going to say things you don't necessarily agree with,
right?
But they're saying it for a reason,
right?
They're giving you insight sometimes to yourself. And so I think with her, it's regardless if she does the race and her risk tolerance is through the roof, right? She doesn't care. There's still a purpose behind it, if that makes sense. Yeah. And that's, I think, thankfully to her team.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Having that better cushion if you fail.
Yeah.
Having that support network.
Totally.
Or not failing is bad.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Well, that was fun. That's another gosh dang. Like the last like all of the recent ones now I'm already like going like, oh, I know what the second and the third act could be. So it's fun.
It's fun.
Manny, again, first of all, thank you so much, brother.
Of course.
Do me a favor, please give your social handle again.
Yes.
So I can put it back up on the screen.
Absolutely. So my Instagram is Emmanuel Manzanares, which is my full name. That's the only social that I have personally. The team that I was discussing about, LBP Stunts, right? LBP. A lot of people, I think, sometimes put IBP. LBP Stunts in Chicago. You can look at LBP Stunts on Instagram, on Facebook. We have a YouTube. YouTube's been up now for a better half of 15 years, and we have a lot of fun shorts. We have a whole different crew, people from all over, from New York, Atlanta, and the UK, and Vancouver, as well as LA and Chicago. And you can see a variety of what we do, and a lot of times we work with Midwest Stunts, which is what you're part of. And it's really just to show that we have top-tier talent in Chicago, no different than any other city.
Heck yeah. Thank you, brother, so much.
Hell yeah,
really
thank
appreciate it. Check them out, guys. Thanks.